Let's jump right into this explainer on Florida, the heart of the hurricane path. We're skipping the usual preamble today and, literally, jumping straight into the eye of the storm. We're going on a quick meteorological journey to figure out exactly why this one specific piece of land is nature's ultimate target. Okay, let's dive into this. Florida is hit by hurricanes way more times than any other U.S. state. It's a staggering reality right there in the data. You know, if you live there or even if you just visit, this isn't some fun piece of trivia. It's a profound way of life. But what exactly makes this state such a massive magnet for these giant storms? Which brings us to the core question. Why Florida? Why is this specific peninsula the ultimate hurricane bullseye? Well, to understand this unique vulnerability, we actually have to look beyond the state's borders and examine the massive environmental forces surrounding it on basically all sides.
So, Section 1, Florida, the hurricane capital.
Think of Florida as a giant geographical speed bump stuck right in the path of most tropical storms. Why? Well, because it's completely surrounded by three massive storm-breeding bodies of water. You've got the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean Sea. These waters provide this lethal cocktail of extremely warm water and low atmospheric pressure. It's basically a giant incubator for severe weather.
Moving on to Section 2, Recipe for a Storm.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how it happens. Hurricanes require two absolute key ingredients, heat and wind. Step 1, they mix over the ocean. Step 2, that incredibly warm surface water evaporates and rises, building these massive clouds. Step 3, this rising moisture releases heat, which rapidly intensifies the updrafts. And finally, Step 4, this is the real kicker. These powerful updrafts actually begin to rotate. This rotation forms a fierce tropical cyclone that just keeps feeding itself, spinning faster and faster into an absolute monster.
Section 3, Rating the Destruction.
So, meteorologists rate hurricanes across a scale of 5 categories, basically based on their strength and their potential for damage. Number 5, that's the ceiling. That is the absolute maximum threat level on the scale. When a storm hits this number, we're looking at catastrophic, truly life-altering potential.
Category 5 represents the absolute most powerful storms on the planet. Just to put that into perspective, think of the infamous Hurricane Katrina. A Category 5 storm like Katrina brings a level of sheer damage and devastation that takes communities literal decades to recover from. It demands our ultimate respect and absolute preparation from anyone caught in its path. Which leads us to Section 4, Landfall and Devastation.
Now, here is the ultimate geographical irony. Over water, a hurricane is constantly fueled by warm moisture, but over land, it quickly subsides without that water. The very moment the hurricane strikes the coast to inflict its terror, its primary power source is instantly cut off. So technically, the storm begins to die the second it makes landfall. But as we all know, a dying storm is still incredibly lethal.
So, the crucial point is understanding how it does so much massive damage at that exact moment of impact. And it's primarily through storm surge. That's a destructive rise in sea level that happens as strong winds literally push the ocean water onto the shore. It's this catastrophic, immediate transfer of energy from the ocean directly to the land.
But the rising water isn't the only threat. As the hurricane unleashes its remaining energy inland, it brings a terrifying mix of additional landfall hazards. We're talking about devastatingly strong winds that can rip roofs right off buildings. We're looking at torrential, heavy rains causing massive inland flooding. And, honestly, as if that wasn't enough, these chaotic atmospheric conditions frequently spawn sudden, violent tornadoes. It's a complete multi-front assault on the coast.
So knowing this inescapable geographical reality, how can coastal residents best adapt to life in the ultimate hurricane path? Florida is geographically locked into this storm-breeding zone, surrounded by warm water, low pressure, and the perfect ingredients for meteorological disaster. As we better understand these massive forces, the real challenge becomes how we adapt and live with them. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and I hope it leaves you curious to explore even more about how we manage and survive our planet's most extreme environmental risks.